Furniture Village summer sale is on now, and I love the way it surprises me. I love the fact they know their furniture inside out, and I know I'm making a real saving on everything, including some great British brands. And with free delivery on everything too, I really love that moment when you find just what you're looking for. The Furniture Village summer sale. Where else?
The Video Music Awards both have 5 nominations each, including the major categories of Best Male and Best Female Video. That's the latest. I'm Matt Steele.
The Jazz FM Money Minute.
Well, 2 online travel agents and a hotel group have broken the law, according to the early findings of an investigation. Booking.com and Expedia have been found to have entered into separate agreements with the Intercontinental Hotels Group, according to the Office of Fair Trading, and that could be limiting competition on hotel room sales. Onto the stock markets, and the FTSE has ended the day down over 0.75%. It fell 46 points to close just below the 5650 mark. Our coverage brought to you with Samsung, official worldwide partner of the London 2012 Olympic Games. And UBS has blamed a fall in profits on problems to do with the launch of Facebook shares. The Swiss bank lost £227 million during the flotation, blaming the Nasdaq exchange, leaving its second quarter profits at £276 million. And disposable income at the start of 2012 was at its lowest in 9 years. The Office for National Statistics claims whilst actual expenditure was falling, more households were choosing to pay off existing debts. I'm Steve Bowell.
The Jazz FM Money Minute. Jazz Travels with Robbie Vincent on Jazz FM in partnership with Virgin Holidays Cruises. Just another way Rockstar Service gives you more.
Jazz FM. Listen in colour.
Rockets and moonshots, and blame it on the have-nots. Money, we made it, yeah, but before we see it, they take it. Yes, to make you wanna holler right on home. The way they do your life, make you wanna holler right on home. Way they into your life. Inflation means there ain't no chance and to increase a little bit of finance. And bills they're gonna pile up the sky. Send that boy off to die. Yes, it make you wanna holler right on. The way they do your life, make you wanna holler right on. The way they do your life. Hang-ups and let downs, and bad breaks and setbacks. The natural fact is, oh baby, that I can't pay no taxes. Yes, it make me wanna holler sometimes and throw up both my hands. It make me wanna holler sometimes. So you say you never heard of the inner city blues, and what's more, you don't understand at all what the ghetto people mean when they say living behind walls. Well, then put on your best suit, white shirt and tie, and run on downtown to stand in line for a job washing dishes that you may not qualified. Walk a big hole in a brand new pair of shoes and you've had your first look at the inner city blues. Go looking for a place to live, but all the while remember what lurks behind the devil's smile. Are we stupid or just naive that we continue to believe money can buy us anything, including a slice of the American dream? Yeah, answer ads in the paper about houses for sale and get treated like Charles Manson out on bail. When you start to get frustrated by the tactics they use, you'll recognize the feeling. It's the inner city blues. Yeah, make you want to holler sometimes and throw up both your hands. And haven't you ever wondered about why some brothers and sisters were down and out, receiving their sympathy from a bottle of wine, or worse yet, old homicide, living their lives in a glassine bag, or praising the mysteries of terminal skag? Some of our brothers parading in drag, another set of victims too whipped to choose. Yeah, you can recognize that. That's the inner city blues. Makes you want to holler sometimes and throw up both your hands. To see sweet sisters, the blossoms of our African tree, profiling on the corner talking about 10 and 3. Because in spite of all the money we made and taxes we paid, the woman was looking at hungry babes and some decisions had to be made. Could you tell her it's better to go to your grave as a slave with a minimum wage? Well, I hardly think so, but make you want to holler sometimes and throw up both your hands. And what happens when people start to feel they have nothing to lose, 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 nothing to lose. Did you ever hear about Mark Essex and the things that made him choose to fight the inner city blues? Yeah, Essex took to the rooftops guerrilla style and watched while all the crackers went wild. Brought in 600 troops out here, brand new to see them crushed with fear. Essex fought back with 1,000 rounds, and New Orleans was a changing town, and rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat was the only sound. Yeah, bring on the stone rifles to knock down walls, bring on the elephant guns, bring on the helicopters to block out the sun. Yeah, made the devil wanna holler, 'cause 8 was dead and a dozen was down, and cries for freedom were a brand new sound. New York, Chicago, Frisco, L.A., justice was served and the unjust were afraid. 'Cause after all the years and all the fears, brothers were alive, the courage found, and spreading them goddamn blues around. Yeah, make you wanna holler, black people, and hold up both your hands and say liberation.
Crime is increasing, and trigger happy policing. Panic is spreading, and Lord knows where we're heading. Yes, make you wanna holler sometimes and throw up both of your hands. Make you wanna holler sometimes and throw up both your hands.
Robbie Vincent, Jazz Travels, that means travel and good music, blues, soul, and of course some jazz, and the wonderful Gil Scott-Heron and Inner City Blues. It's part 2 of Boston, Massachusetts Guide. We're going to continue our look at some of the cultural and musical highlights of not only Boston, but the surrounding Berkshires. Here's Vicky Saltzman, who's Director of Communications at the Sterling and Francine Clark Art Institute in Williamstown, Massachusetts, to explain why the area is such a good place for art and culture.
For one thing, most of America's history starts here in New England, in Boston in particular, obviously. And the great thing about the state of Massachusetts is you can go from one end to the other of it in 3 hours, and you get the full experience of the rich urban settings of Boston, which is a very beautiful city, very similar to London in a lot of ways. It's manageable and livable, not quite as hustle-bustle as New York, but with all the same amenities as you would find in New York. And then you can go on a beautiful drive out the Massachusetts Turnpike, going through historic towns. You can see spectacular gardens. There are wonderful small museums that dot the roadway all along there. And then you end up in the Berkshires, which is probably one of the more beautiful settings that you can imagine. It is the picturesque New England experience that you see in the movies or you see in books, and it really happens here. And we're very fortunate to live in a place like this because you do get to see the changing of the seasons. You get to have real, quiet, local experiences with everything from the restaurateurs who are using fresh greens grown on the farm next door to high-end culture at its top levels with art museums, theaters, performing arts venues. We have so much going on in the Berkshires. It has been the historical playground of the cultured set in America for more than 150 years. So writers like Herman Melville or Edith Wharton all had summer places here in the Berkshires and brought their friends here to experience the beauty of nature and then to really expand on their art appreciation here. Here at the Clark, we thrive on the concept of art and nature, and we have an exceptional collection of everything from Italian Renaissance through French Impressionists, but you get the added benefit of getting to view these works in a setting that's truly incomparable. This land has been here for millions of years, and it's still largely untouched, and it's quite special.
Let me tell you a bit more about the Sterling and Francine Clark Institute, usually referred to simply as the Clark, located in Williamstown, Massachusetts. The location is particularly spectacular, set on a wooded hillside. The Clark was created by entrepreneur, soldier, explorer and prominent art collector Robert Sterling Clark and his wife Francine. Sterling settled in Paris in 1911 and used a considerable fortune inherited from his grandfather. You might wonder where the money came from. Well, it came from the Singer Sewing Machine Company. That enabled him to begin a private art collection. Francine joined him, collecting after they married in 1919. And at first, the Clarks concentrated on Italian, Dutch and Flemish old master paintings. Eventually, their interest turned to more recent artists, and they developed a great affinity for the works of John Singer Sargent, Degas, Winslow Homer and Renoir. That's just a flavour of Boston, the area full of art. We want some music. Robbie Vincent, Jazz Travels. Here's some musical art. Leo Gantleman. Robbie Vincent Jazz Travels, that's Leo Gandelman and Aurora, and we promised last week that on our trip to Boston in part 2 we'd have a more detailed look at the Berklee College of Music, world famous, and Leo Gandelman was one of its graduates, and here's what he had to say about his experiences.
Well, at the time in Rio was very hard to find information regarding to learn music, or you went to, or you would go to classical schools, or that was it. You know, popular music was something that was not in the books yet. And Berklee was kind of one of the first places to create a method of teaching popular music, jazz. Mr. Lee Burke, he really put jazz in the map of the schools, you know, and that was it. So I had
how'd you get into the school? Do you have to audition? Because you said you're in Rio. You don't ring up and say, shall I get on a plane and come to your college? Do you have to audition? I mean, how'd you get a place there?
Well, I first went to school, but that's a very interesting story. I met the Berklee family in Rio. They were going to the Sugarloaf, and we met in the train. And, when I decided to go to the States, I wrote them a letter. And I first went there to visit the school. And then Mrs. Burke, at the time, invited me to be a photographer for the Berklee Performance Center. And she gave me kind of a scholarship. And that was it. So I had to come back to Brazil to do the papers, the student papers. And I went to stay in Boston for 4 semesters. Today, I regret that I didn't really finish the school, because I would love to, but I was very anxious to play and to go to the real life.
Leo Gandelman on his time at the Berklee College, and we'll be hearing from Patrice Rushen after the break, and she's been a professor at Berklee since 2008.
Jazz Travels on Jazz FM, in partnership with Virgin Holidays Cruises. Start your cruise holiday with style in our exclusive V-Room airport lounges in Gatwick and Manchester.
Jazz FM.
With the latest traffic and travel news when you need it, 7 days a week.
I'm Simon Temby with the latest Jazz FM traffic and travel. The eastbound side of the M27 through Hampshire has lane blocks because of an accident. 2 vehicles involved in that. Just after you get to junction 11 at Fareham, it's lane 3 which is obstructed. On the M20, as you head towards the coast, you'll find queues with a lane blocked off by an accident involving a lorry and a car. Just as you get to junction 3 at Leybourne. We were seeing delays on the M42 through Worcestershire, but it's now turning to normal around junction 2 at Redditch, heading out to Bromsgrove at 1 after an accident. And the M62 on the eastbound side through West Yorkshire, very slow just before you get to Tingley at junction 28. Queues going back now to Gildersome at 27 through the roadworks. There was a broken down vehicle. Anything else, call in if it's safe and legal. 0500 59 27 27.
Jazz FM. Listening colour.
Gary saved £400 on his car insurance at Money Supermarket, and now he feels epic. But enough about Gary. We want to hear about you. Tweet about the boatloads you saved on your car insurance with hashtag epic, and next time it'll be your heroic antics we'll be yelling about on the radio. Yes! You're so Money Supermarket, you don't even know it.
Jazz FM.
And now, a postcard from Virgin Holidays Cruises on Jazz Travels, with one of the many great trips you can experience with a team who bring you more with Rockstar Service, where you can combine brilliant land-based stays with ultimate nautical adventures.
It's the treasure trove of natural beauty, ancient splendour and glorious beaches. A cruise to the Mediterranean with Royal Caribbean International is a holiday you'll never forget. In the Mediterranean, you'll get to enjoy the very best that Europe has to offer with one of Royal Caribbean International's fantastic range of Mediterranean cruises. Whether it's breathtaking views of the gorgeous Greek islands or the wild Gaudi architecture in Barcelona, Med Cruises will leave you with more incredible memories than you can imagine. And when on board a Royal Caribbean ship, you'll enjoy one of the youngest and most innovative fleet afloat. Surf the waves on the Flow Rider. Enjoy fantastic dining venues and soak up the rays on the sun-drenched decks. On selected Royal Caribbean ships, you'll also get to experience the rock-star service you come to expect with Virgin Holidays, which include exclusive champagne receptions with a senior officer, priority dining times at specialty restaurants with a complimentary dinner for two thrown in.
To find out more about the amazing cruise holidays available from Virgin Holidays Cruises and how Rockstar Service gives you more, go to the Virgin Holidays Cruises website. Details can be found at jazzfm.com.
This is Jules Holland, and I'm proud to be patron of music at Boisdale Canary Wharf, the latest wonderful live music venue in London. Check out our website for the forthcoming live jazz, blues and soul, which we'll be having on.
Enjoy a fantastic meal in our gorgeous restaurant. Our Michelin star-trained head chef, Andy Rose, has created a menu using the very best of British ingredients, with two-course menus starting at $19.75, as well as a great bar menu with fabulous burgers. Or try out the caviar and oyster bar. Plus, there's live jazz, blues and soul every night.
Boisdale at Canary Wharf. Book tickets from just £5 online at boisdale.co.uk.
Really early in the mornings are bad enough when you hear this. So why not hear this on your alarm clock instead and get up bright and early with me, Nick Pitts, for Early Morning Jazz. We're here to help you get out of bed when no one else wants to. Early Morning Jazz with me, Nick Pitts, from 4 a.m. until 6, Monday to Friday on Jazz FM.
Jazz FM's Listening Colour.
Robbie Vincent Jazz Travels, Patrice Rushen remind me. Patrice was not a graduate of the Berklee College of Music, but she's a professor and a teacher there. Here she is to tell us more.
I'm teaching at the Berklee College of Music in Boston, Massachusetts. I am their ambassador for artistry in education. So I work not only with students, but I also work with faculty. And we continue to identify and change and massage the way in which we deliver the information to our students, because this particular school focuses, and probably was one of the first in the States, to focus on contemporary music idioms. This was the school you would go to when you knew you wanted to play rock and roll guitar. And the other stuff for you was irrelevant, but that's where you wanted to go. And when I'm working with faculty and I'm working with the students, it's about breaking down the silos of what it used to be. You know, I'm going to be a composer, and I'm going to be a performing artist, and I'm going to be a recording engineer. And you may have a particular emphasis or something that you particularly like. But these days, especially, everybody has to know a little bit about the other jobs. And marketing comes into play, the ability to work with others and to be taking in information from other people. I think what's really important, and especially what I noticed in teaching at Berklee, is we have a very high international student composition, in that so many of them want to come to America to be able to get all of this information, and we're sending American kids, you know, into other places and other musical environments for them to be able to find their way, because it's a different world in terms of the things you need to know to work. And the idea is to get out there and be part of the music community and work with the idea that you're going to contribute something.
Thanks to Patrice Rushen. On our visit to Boston, we met the man they call Mr. Jazz. That's Fred Taylor. He recorded one of Dave Brubeck's first releases in 1952 and has been running jazz clubs in the city for as long as anyone can remember. Here's his take on the importance of colleges to the music scene in the city.
There's a tremendous flow of musicians that are coming out of there, and Boston actually is a giant student music scene, because there's Berklee, there's the New England Conservatory, Harvard has a jazz program, there's a BU, there's and by the way, Berklee is probably the largest music college in the world. And it's so, and you have the college market in Boston. There must be 15 colleges within a 10-mile radius of the city. So there is a very vibrant music audience, student audience.
Miles Davis and Marcus Miller, 2-2. Now, Fred Taylor put on Miles Davis live in Boston, and Miles, as you know, has a reputation for not being the easiest of people to work with. How did you get on with it, Fred?
I first booked and met Miles in 1967 when I brought him to the Jazz Workshop I live in Boston, and I was very apprehensive. He already had a little bit of a reputation, and matter of fact, there was a thing that was called the Miles Davis doll, and it was that you wind it up and it turns its back on you. That was one of the gags. But anyways, I came down. It was a Monday night. He was sitting at the bar. I came down. I said, "Hi, Miles. My name's Fred Taylor." And I could have been talking to the wall. And then I said, "Well, how do you like to run your sets?" And then he turned around to me and said, "I came here to play, man." So I looked at him. I said, "We start at 9, we close at 2, you're in charge." And I walked away. Well, he had that band up at 9 o'clock. They were right on the set, played his ass off, came to me the end of the night and said, "What did you think of the band?" I said, "They sound good, but I'll bet you sound a lot better by Wednesday." He said, "You know, you're right." Well, that meeting sort of set a relationship, because Miles was a no-fluff guy. He didn't like people patronizing, and I just gave it back to him the way he gave it to me, and that just bonded us. And I'm the only person he'd play for in Boston and I worked with him to the day he died. I brought, when Miles had disappeared for about 5-6 years, and when I got a call from him in 81, he said, I'm coming back, I want to do a date. And I didn't have a club. My clubs were closed at the time, but I found a club right nearby, and I brought him in, and that was the first date that he reappeared, and that was with Marcus Miller, Mino Sinolu was on percussion, Al Foster on drums. It was incredible. We did 4 nights, and that was the re-emergence of Miles. Number one, every show sold out. That entire run, the press from all over the world came. They were there from Japan, from England, from France. It was electrifying. I'll never forget that first night. It was amazing.
Fred Taylor, otherwise known as Mr. Jazz. More from Boston after the break. We'll actually be moving out of the city and hearing more about the leafy Berkshires.
Jazz Travels on Jazz FM in partnership with Virgin Holidays Cruises. Start your cruise holiday with style in our exclusive V-Room airport lounges in Gatwick and Manchester.
Jazz FM.
With the latest traffic and travel news when you need it, 7 days a week.
I'm Simon Tenby with the latest Jazz FM traffic and travel. The eastbound side of the M27 through Hampshire has lane blocks because of an accident. 2 vehicles involved in that. Just after you get to junction 11 at Fareham, it's lane 3 which is obstructed. On the M20, as you head towards the coast, you'll find queues with a lane blocked off by an accident involving a lorry and a car. Just as you get to junction 3 at Leybourne. We were seeing delays on the M42 through Worcestershire, but it's now returning to normal around junction 2 at Redditch, heading out to Bromsgrove at 1 after an accident. And the M62 on the eastbound side through West Yorkshire, very slow just before you get to Tingley at junction 28. Queues going back now to Gildersham at 27 through the roadworks. There was a broken down vehicle. Anything else, call in if it's safe and legal. 0500 59 27 27.
Jazz FM. Listening colour.
Gary saved £400 on his car insurance at Money Supermarket, and now he feels epic. But enough about Gary. We want to hear about you. Tweet about the boatloads you saved on your car insurance with hashtag epic, and next time it'll be your heroic antics we'll be yelling about on the radio. Yes! You're so Money Supermarket, you don't even know it.
Jazz FM.
Taking Notes with David Freeman on Jazz FM. this Saturday morning from 9.
And this week the featured book is called A Bunch of Fives. It's not a guide to self-defence or pugilism. It's a collection of short stories written by Helen Simpson. She's won awards for being very good at it. Where do you start? Where do you get your ideas from? Is it tough? Is it difficult? Is it quick? How long does it take?
David Freeman's Taking Notes. Every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. in partnership with Waterstones, your local bookshop, and online at waterstones.com. Jazz FM.
Buongiorno, mes amis. Tell me, what are you doing Tuesday, the most boring day of the week? Going to see a movie and then maybe a pizza? Come on, guys! There's a Euro Millions jackpot this Tuesday! It's now £119 million! For that kind of money, it's the Cannes Film Festival, dinner with Brangelina, and all back to mine! It's gonna be so fun! My name is Hector Riva. Welcome to my world!
Estimated jackpot. Games rules and procedures apply. Players must be 16 or over.
Picture this. You are cruising across a glistening ocean. You are an A-lister for a week. You are spending days on the perfect beach. Forever would be better. And with a 7-night Caribbean cruise and stay holiday from $699, you are now wishing you were really there.
With tailor-made cruise holidays, wherever your perfect place may be, Virgin Holidays Cruises can put you there. Just another way Rockstar Service gives you more. Visit virginholidayscruises.co.uk for details or go in store.
We are
Virgin Holidays Cruises. Limited availability. Booking fee and conditions may apply. At all protected.
Hi, I'm Steve Ruby, and here at the 606 Club in Chelsea, 7 nights a week for over 30 years, we've been promoting the best live jazz, Latin, soul, groove and gospel, all of which can be found on our website, 606club.com, where you can hear samples of our artists, go to our online shop to download their music, and then go to our tutorial section. There you can access masterclasses from some of the finest performers on the scene and learn to play like your favourites. Check it out, 606club.com. We're more than just a club.
This is Jazz FM.
Mother, there's too many of you crying. Brother, there's far too many of you dying. You know we gotta find a way to bring some love in here today. Father, we don't need to escalate. War is not the answer, 'cause only love conquers. You know we gotta find a way to bring some love in here today. Picket lines, picket signs, don't you punish me. Brutality. what's going on.
Robbie Vincent with Jazz Travels. That means travel and good music too, and it doesn't get a lot better than that, does it? Donny Hathaway, What's Going On, a live version, produced by Arif Marden, who was a Berklee Music College graduate, and he was one of the first of a special project set up by Quincy Jones. And Arif, as a lot of you will know, went on to be the vice president of Atlantic Records and worked with a whole host of fantastic people like Aretha Franklin. And it's not just, the city of Boston that's bursting with arts and culture. The Berkshires are peppered with small and attractive towns that are very much worth a journey from the centre of Boston. One town worth a visit on a tour of the Berkshires is Northampton. It's located about 75 miles to the west of Boston in the foothills of the Berkshires. Here's Suzanne Beck. Suzanne is Executive Director of the Greater Northampton Chamber of Commerce, and she gives us an overview of the town of Northampton. That's the one in Massachusetts, by the way.
It's always a huge pleasure to introduce people that haven't been to Northampton to this town, because everybody is surprised by what they see. We have an extraordinary collection of very fine restaurants that really specialize in using the fruits and vegetables and produce of our local farms. Extraordinary collection of galleries and jewelers and potters and shops that really showcase the fine artwork that's created here. And then our music scene is totally unexpected, but we've got the good fortune of a guy here who has the Iron Horse Music Hall, which for some in the industry would be an infamous place to perform, and has been an extraordinary launching pad for a number of artists whose names you would know very well today. So when you walk down the streets of Northampton, it's very laid back, very casual, and you walk into a shop and you can't help but be surprised by what's here. I think everybody that comes here goes away thinking, wow, I've just been to a very special place that not many people know about. So it's fun to introduce people.
Our thanks to Suzanne Beck, and we're now going to travel deeper into the west of the Berkshires, where you'll reach the small town of Stockbridge and Lenox. Stockbridge is quintessential New England, and this is where artist Norman Rockwell, the painter and illustrator famous for his depictions of everyday American life, lived his last 25 years. Rich in history, the main street, which is largely unchanged since Rockwell's days, is the same scene featured in the painting Main Street Stockbridge at Christmas. The town now houses a gallery dedicated to the artist's work, and here's Jeremy Clow from the gallery to tell us more.
He was sort of born in New York City, and in later years, in the 40s, moved to New England, to Arlington, Vermont, where he lived many years. And then he moved here in the 50s. So he kind of ended his career here in Stockbridge and really became a part of the community. His paintings depicted sort of everyday scenes of, life. Americans, kids like in the background here. It would have been a perfect Rockwell moment. And before he passed away, it became, they realized that we needed to do something with his collection to preserve it. And he always kind of had wanted to be able to share that with later generations. So there was a little historic museum down in town. That's where he had his home, was right across from the Red Line Inn down in town. And they had this building they were about to tear down, and they have a real effort in Stockbridge to try to preserve historic buildings. It's actually kind of, over in Europe and UK, you seem to be aware of preserving, but I think in the US we've been kind of late to realize that. But this area is kind of unique. I think they do try to preserve things. So one way to do that, they turned it into a house museum, and Rockwell donated some of his artwork to exhibit. And people heard about this. Rockwell was so beloved and well known by that point. People were driving out in droves to see this. Small little house museum became kind of too small to accommodate people. So we moved here to this property in '93, and we actually brought his studio from down in Stockbridge to the property. So we've been open, it's actually about our 40th anniversary if you're counting that old house museum. So we've been in that time showing Rockwell's work with national, international audience. Yeah.
To wrap up our visit to Boston, and while we're in the area, we go to Tanglewood, the home of the annual Summer Tanglewood Music Festival and the Tanglewood Jazz Festival. It's been the Boston Symphony Orchestra's summer home since 1937, set in a stunning location overlooking the Berkshire Hills. This is a wonderful place to visit for live music, both classical and jazz, in a relaxed setting away from the hustle and bustle of the city. Indeed, a century ago, many of America's wealthiest families were attracted to Lenox by the clear air and commanding vistas. They built magnificent summer mansions and they called them cottages. And talking of festivals, is dance is your thing, then another venue that really makes the most of its beautiful location is Jacob's Pillow. Jacob's Pillow Dance, celebrated worldwide as a hub and mecca of dancing, is a treasured national historic landmark and home to America's longest-running international dance festival. Each year, thousands of people from around America and around the globe visit to experience the festival, with more than 50 dance companies and 200 free performances, talks and events. One of the most prestigious professional dance training centres in America. It's got nothing to do with Jacob's Pillow, but here's Jacob's Ladder incognito. Jacob's Ladder, Incognito. Now, next week on Jazz Travels, we're off travelling with Melody Gardot, Joe Sample and Wynton Marsalis. The news is next, and then it's Dinner Jazz with Helen Mayhew.
You're riding beside me, Elwood Blues, in the passenger seat of the Bluesmobile, with